I'm this up close and personal because I want to tell you how I handled failure and setback in my past. So, back when I was a 10th grader in Toronto, I had a big dream, and that was to become a professional football player. Soccer wasn't just something I loved, it was my passion, it was my identity. Every day I trained hard, I watched games, and studied the moves of my idol, Ronaldo, Cristiano. I imagined myself scoring the winning goal in like packed stadiums, hearing the crowds chant my name. For me, soccer was more than just a game, it was my future. And things actually started looking up, you know. When my school actually finally decided to form an official team back in Toronto, like I said, so that we can compete with other schools. We didn't have a team before, and because there was no coach as well, they didn't really take it seriously. But this time we had a coach, and he was actually someone I trusted and I knew personally, right? And he was a teacher that was also part of like, he wasn't just a coach, he was also like a teacher. He was like a sports coach as well. So, like obviously I had him in some of my classes in the past as well. So, and basically he saw my dedication and my belief in the sport, and like he saw how hard I trained back when in my own personal time, and so on. And then, he believed in what I could achieve, he knew my goals and he believed in my potential, and when I made the team, you know, he gave me the news that I would also be captain of the team and I'll be playing my favorite position, which was left wing back in that time. So, it was a dream come true for me, and I was ready to prove myself and lead the team because like that's literally one of the best things that could happen for someone who loves soccer, right? To be captain of the team and to play their favorite position and to basically play regularly, right? Okay. But then suddenly everything just started falling apart, like not too long after. So midway through like the season, right? Like what we're preparing for the season. The season hasn't started, but like we were preparing for the season and stuff like that. And basically like something just happened that's like literally changed everything, And basically at my school we had this thing called interim reports, right? And it was basically a kind of like academic progress check before midterms, right? So it's nothing serious. You have your midterm grades, right? This interim report was just like so you see what's how you're doing so far before you get to the midterms, right? So you can maybe pick up the slack if you're slacking. So it's not a serious report card, right? Basically, but they give you like this paper just to know your grades so far. And I was doing like okay in most classes, maybe a few B's and C's, but there was this one teacher, like this one class that was just like terrible. I had like a D in, right? And I'm Nigerian, right? So having a D in the class, my parents are gonna be like very annoyed, very frustrated. And my teacher kind of knew this. He's met my parents before, and he knows like the standards they hold me on, right? And I was trying to explain to my coach that that man, this teacher is annoying. He doesn't understand anything. And like I'm trying to like do. I think like he's just like picking on me basically a little bit more. Right? I was trying to explain to my coach this, and basically in a moment of anger, I basically like saw my interim report. I was frustrated. But I tore it up, right? And even though, like, yes, I guess it's kind of a big deal, it wasn't that much of a big deal, but this guy took it to the next level, right? He basically, and it wasn't like his class I'm complaining about too, right? So it's kind of weird how personal he took it, right? So, he took it personally. And, like, honestly, I just think it's the fact that, we grew up in different cultures, right? So, obviously he's white, I'm black. I'm not saying that white people do this, but, like, generally speaking, like, midterm report card when it's not even your report card, it's not your class, it really has nothing to do with you, like, and in this, and keep in mind, this is like the interim report, so it's not serious, right? Like, you shouldn't take it as personally as you do, right? Like, this is just like something where it's like, okay, why did you return up your interim? Don't do that again. See what I'm saying? But he took that personally, and shit happened, right? So as a result, I was stripped of my captaincy from him, right? He just took it. I don't know why. You can see the gravity of the situation. Or I was stripped off my captaincy, and he actually also told one of my friends who was going to be vice captain, and he also switched off my of. He also took my friend off the vice captaincy as well, because my friend was actually backing me up that he wasn't a big deal, so and so, and he was in my class too, so he kind of understood what I was talking about as well, right? So he basically demoted both of us, and on top of that, he gave the captaincy to someone else, and he decided not to play in my favorite position anymore, right? So instead of the left wing, You know, because obviously, you know, in a football team, there's usually lots of wingers, players who want to play the wing, you know. But even though he knew that was my favorite position, he said, you know what? Because I was usually like one-minded. I could only play that position or, you know, cam at the time. But that was my position because I wanted to be like Ronaldo a little bit, you know. But he said, nah, instead of left wing, I'm gonna play right wing. And even then, right, I was not even being played often, you know. It's not like, oh, I'm playing the right wing, I can get used to the spots. It was like, no, I'm being subbed off in the last 10 minutes, or I'm playing only 5 minutes, you know, and I didn't have time to like adapt to that position and get comfortable with it, you know. So I basically went from being a key player to sitting on the bench a lot and only getting like 5-10 minutes max per game. If I even played anything, there's some guys I didn't even play at all. You know, it was really crushing, guys. Like, I don't think you understand when like your whole life revolves around soccer. This kind of thing is really devastating. Like, you know, the team actually performed well. You know, we finished second in the tournament, right? We actually went to playoffs and finished second. We lost in the final, but while I was happy for the team, you know, at the same time, I felt useless. I felt invincible, you know, like my contribution was just minimal. And I had a dream about this entire season, and it was literally the exact opposite, right? And, you know, I basically began doubting myself and everything I was worth, you know, my talent, my passion, even my dream of going pro. I was like, if I can't even like earn my spot and play, you know, this sort of games and help my team to some degree, like, do I even deserve to go pro? You know, like it was very tough for my mentality back then. I remember sitting in my room after the tournament, you know, staring at the medal like we all got. You know, for a while I was hanging like on my wardrobe, but then it just felt like meaningless to me, man. I just felt so much pain when I looked at that medal, you know. And I remember like when I left Toronto, like I just threw the medal away. I didn't take it with me. Some of my boys still have that medal, but I don't even know where my medal is. I just left it away, you know, threw it away. You know, and that night, honestly, like after we all came back and we got our medals, you know, I just cried and I made a promise to myself, you know, that I would never feel that way again. So guys, man, like the point is, you know, the turning point for me was just basically looking back at everything. You know, I realized that moment taught me some of the most important lessons in life and in football that I could ever learn, right? And failures and setback is not the end, right? I'm sure you guys know this, but it's really part of the process, right? And they show you where you need to grow specifically, right? And, you know, here's what I learned, right? 3 points, right? You define your worth. All right. The fact is, my mistake was I was tying my self-worth to external validation, right? And when that like was stripped away, that external validation where like I needed people to like see me in the captaincy, in the field playing regularly, when that was stripped away, I felt lost. You know, I didn't have anything, you know, and my true confidence needs to come from within and not from like a title or position, right? And like, you know, thanks to that, you know, like nowadays, like every time I feel failure, you know, it's just more like, yo, listen, man. Yeah, I get it. I failed. That's nothing new. You know, I got this. Like, what are you going to do? Right? I'm just going to move on from this, grow from this. It's nothing new, right? I'm just going to keep going until I succeed. You know, that's what it is. You know, and I used to just tie everything to like, okay, this is how exactly it needs to be. Like, bro, I'm tired of that, man. You know, I know my worth. I know I'm going to get what I'm worth eventually. You know, number 2, setbacks are lesson in disguise, you know. So, you know, losing the captaincy and like my starting position forced me to reflect, right? It was a wake-up call to look and work on my mindset, you know, as much as my skills, right? So back then, I didn't value mindset as much, right? Like I was working on my skills, I was training every day, like I told you, you know, I was basically working hard, but I never valued my mindset because I just thought me wanting to go pro and me never giving up was just enough. Right, but as you saw, based on my experience, it's just not enough. Right, you can have that mindset of yes, I'm never going to give up, I'm going to go pro, but it's simply not enough. Because when something tough, you know, is there, that moment comes, right? It could break you, just because, like, and keep in mind, I never give up on going pro, right? But it's just that I didn't know how to handle myself in that time. You know, let's say, for example, that situation I just described to you, my story happened. You know, if I was more mentally strong, I could have just like stood up for myself and just be like, you know, listen, man, when I get on that field, I don't want to give a shit what's happening. The 5-10 minutes of what's happening, I don't give a shit. I'm going to play my heart out. And even though I tried to do that like when I played, it was just more like I didn't want to make any mistakes, so I get subbed off immediately, And another thing too is, I also didn't take the time to familiarize myself with my teammates, like I was just like kind of like unhappy, brooding, like some kind of teenager who was just unhappy he didn't get to play a lot. So familiarizing myself with my teammates, so my teammates actually pass the ball more to me and help me look good in front of the coach, These are tactics that I could have used to kind of elevate myself a bit, right? Number 3, adaptability is a superpower, guys. So, playing an unfamiliar position for me was very uncomfortable, but the truth is discomfort actually forces growth, right? And it showed me the importance of being versatile, right? Just not on the field, right? But also in life in general, right? So, for example, right now, when I play football, I can play left wing, right wing, cam, CM, CDM, even center back, even right back, actually, which I actually learned recently, but I can play center back. I worked on my defending, I can actually play striker, but like center back, striker is my worst position. I hate playing striker, but I can if I wanted to, don't get me wrong. I can play center back, which I don't like, but I do that because some center backs are trash. So if I need to drop deep, I can drop deep, and right back I learned recently, and and that was because my coaching did it, right? And I only now, like, guys, when I play in a team, I literally play like 90 minutes most of the time, at the very least 60 minutes, because I'm so versatile that, and my skills are so good, it's like the coach just has to put me on at some points, right? Especially when certain players are tired, because I can play those positions. I'm invaluable in a lot of teams, right? So guys, make sure you're able to adapt, right? Don't just be hard-headed and just stick to one position. Take the time to actually learn and actually like grow in certain positions, right? Even if it feels like you're not the best in that position, ask yourself, what's the best way I can play in that position that actually maximizes my abilities and it doesn't feel as treacherous, right? The right wing, I hated playing it because I couldn't cut in like the left wing. Guess what? Now I work on my left foot, I can actually cut in if I wanted to. On top of that, now that I understand football to a deeper level, there's really nothing wrong with playing the right wing as a right-footed player. Just go down the line, whipping crosses. Do that repetitively. Do you know what I'm saying? There's nothing wrong with that. You can be an expert at that, right? Work on that, right? You'll be invaluable for any coach if you can whip in solid crosses from the wing, because that just means you're able to stretch the field. So guys, it's just about your mentality and how you look at situations, right, guys? Practice that mentality, you're going to see it, right? And guys, this story matters to you because, like if this story matters to you, you're basically an ambitious player and maybe you're a professional or you're struggling with soccer in some kind of way, like failure is not the end of your story, guys. Like if something's happening in your journey and you're like football is your life and just something's happening, failure is not the end of the story. It's just a chapter that teaches you how to be more resilient, right? Like me, the world is not against you. Like back then, the world did not end back then, right? And these moments of doubt are things that, actually fuel you in the future, right? It will help you grow in the future, like it did me right now, right? So guys, if you're interested, I'm going to continue with some further points right now, that's going to help you with your mindset, right? But so far, if you're interested in the video, like, subscribe, and like I have a program below, like it's a one-on-one coaching call. If you need help, look in the description below. But back to the video, guys. So guys, like I was saying, man, mental resilience, man, like honestly, like I said, every setback is just a way for you to bounce back even stronger, right? So, some techniques I can give you guys for mental resilience is just like positive self-talk, right? I know a lot of people that talk negatively about themselves, like they'll be like, oh, I'm shit, I'm trash, like, like I'm not good enough, like I'm a failure, like why am I so trash, or why am I not good? You know what I'm saying? Like these you guys need to learn how to speak positively. Positive self-talk is honestly a superpower, guys. It's a big superpower, so if you're not taking that like seriously, it's going to affect your entire mentality, and things like visualization as well, right, guys? Visualize yourself like scoring goals, making certain passes. Don't just like visualize, like close your eyes. Don't just like picture it in your head. Take the time to actually close your eyes and like think about everything. Like, okay, you know what? That would actually be a lucky, really good goal. You're closing your eyes, you're like, that's actually a really good goal. I could see myself scoring that. I could see myself making this really nice pass right now. Maybe a trivial pass or something. Take that time to visualize it. I'm telling you guys, it'll do wonders. And guys, learn from your failure, man. Like I said, you know, you probably have a lot of failure in your life if you're watching this video right now. You probably have experienced a lot of failure and whatever. And honestly, that's fantastic. I'm not even gonna lie. You should be thanking God that you've had so much failure. Right now, just thank God. Thank you. I've failed so many times, because what happened now is you have a lot of lessons to look back on and reflect on, right? Analyzing your mistakes, your failures, will allow you to grow, and you have way more things to look at and see where you went wrong than if you got it right the first time, right? You're more prone to make a mistake and not even know how to get back from that. You know what I'm saying? But now you have the formula, right? What not to do, right? And that's what you did in the past, right? There's always something you can learn, even if it seemed out of your control. You knowing what was out of your control, right, by analyzing and reflecting is already very important and will take you to another level, right? Again, guys, how do you maintain your motivation? Some people say motivation is not real, and that's true. But honestly, motivation is real. It's just like, you don't want the dopamine of motivation where it's like you watch a motivational video, oh my God, I'm motivated, I'm pumped. Nah, you want the motivation that is actually like keeps you hungry. Like right now I'm motivated, man. Like I want to do a lot of things right now, but that motivation comes from like my consistency, right? It's like there's this formula where it's like you don't get motivated before you start doing something, right? It's more like you do it, then you get motivated to do it again, and then your motivation increases, and then you do it again. Do you know what I'm saying? And the more you do it, the more you're motivated to do it, because you've done it so many times. It's easier for yourself to do it, but you have to just do it first, if that makes sense, right? So it's like a cycle, right? And guys, that's how you stay motivated, so keep that in mind, right? And basically set like small achievable goals and maintain that over time, increase it over time, right? And celebrate your progress, even if it's small. So for example, let's say you're used to seeing guys train hard, they're doing fitness, they're doing different techniques in their training sessions, and you can't do all of that just in one session. You'll be tired. Just say, you know what, my first session this week, I'm going to train 3 times this week. One of those sessions, I'm just going to focus on juggling the ball, right? And you can say, yo, I trained, I went out to the field, I juggled the ball, good. Second session, you say, I'm going to juggle the ball and I'm going to shoot in the net. Great, you achieved your goal. Third session, I'm going to juggle the ball, shoot in the net, and work on some dribbling drills with the cones. Great. Fourth session the next week. After that, you can say, I'm going to do a little bit of fitness. Just celebrate those small wins. Obviously, do something that it can help you be consistent, right? So if it takes you 2-3 sessions before you're able to progress, do that, right? But guys, set small achievable goals first before go into the bigger goals, and celebrate those small wins. It's very important, right? Lastly, again, you guys need to build a support system, right? So having like your family or some friends, or a coach, like my coach, for example, used to be my support system before that happened, right? But having like family, friends, or a coach who can like actually like support you, you're not in it alone. Some people actually believe in you. It goes a really long way, guys, because those guys are the kind of guys that, they'll help you, remind you that, you actually, what you're doing is actually impressive. What you're doing is actually like your dedication, your hard work is not for nothing. They see it and they celebrate it, Remember when I told you about I was looking for external validation? That's like some sort of external validation that you need in a way. Now, if you don't have any support systems yet, that's fine. You can get that over time. It's not mandatory, right? You can be your own support system. I'm just saying, if you can build that too, that's great for your mentality, guys. It'll take you to a different level. It'll make you feel happier. It makes you feel like you're not in it alone, right? And that's so important if you want to be able to handle failure and setback, right? So guys, my invitation to you is just basically, if you've ever felt stuck, sidelined, or doubted your potential before, I want to basically help you develop your mindset, guys. This is really my passion right now, outside of soccer as well, because I want to hear about your soccer journey. I want to hear about what you're struggling with, and I want to make sure you're not making the same mistakes as me, no matter how silly it is, guys. Like honestly, I want to be able to help you with your mental game, overcoming setbacks, and find your own strength to be able to like lift yourself, right? And it's time to stop letting failure hold you back, guys, because you need to elevate yourself to greatness. And that first comes from the mindset. I know you think your mindset is strong right now, but it can even be better. And trust me, in this call, in the call, the coaching call below in the description, I'm going to work with you, and we're basically going to just look at everything. Right? I'm going to show you how you can elevate your mindset. You can just try it once and see for yourself if I'm lying or not, and then see for yourself, man. There's no harm if you're serious about going pro. This is like a no-brainer in my opinion. So guys, click on the link in the description, like, comment, subscribe, and I'll see you in the next video. Peace.